Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us live or in record. I'm very happy to be here with an opportunity from DevGAMM to have a stream on the industry trends that have made the biggest impact on the people operations and HR in the games industry, analyze different trends, make some predictions, and give you some tips. While you are joining us, yeah, here you see the name of the stream, the trends, people, layoffs, and beyond, and focused for 2024, tips to navigate turbulence. And let me introduce myself. My name is Tanja Loktionova. I am a co-founder at InGameJob.com. This is a job portal which publishes and aggregates thousands of games industry job ads monthly. And I'm also founder at Values Value. This is a 2017 founded recruitment team that specializes on hiring top-notch talent in the games industry. We help different gaming studios grow their talent and expertise. And besides that, I am an ambassador of Women in Games, the initiator and author of the big employment survey that has been run since 2017. What else can be added? I'm a mother of three. I'm also an HR consultant for startups and seasoned games companies. And I'm always happy to share my insights and observation with you. So this is going to be the fourth time that I will be analyzing the industry trends of the previous year and make my focus for the next one. And I think that those who wanted to join have already joined, and we can start. So the agenda. We shall first discuss or dwell on the way 2023 started and with what numbers and trends we as an industry entered the year. Then we shall speak about the global events and the way they influenced the games industry market and the people of games industry. Then, of course, the games industry trend, because they are the ones who influence the people, people operations and HR. Another side to see is the influence of the global people operation trends. I must say that our HR as a whole, as a function in the gaming studios, especially startups, is not so very well developed, is not so seasoned. That is why these trends are going to be implemented in several years. However, I think that it's important to know what's going on in the most prominent companies with prominent HR. Then I will dwell on the game dev HR trends, what's been happening to people in games during the year, and make an assumption of what's going on, what is already going on, and what will be going on in 2024, and give some tips. So these are only some of the sources I've been using for this talk, and they include so many different reports, data, observations, forecasts, and analytics of other experts. And I want to thank them all and give some credits here. So let's take a look on how 2023 started. It was the time when the market showed decrease, and it was 4.3% lower than the previous year. Consoles dropped down by 4%, mobile 6%, browser PC 16.5%, and only downloaded boxed PC games showed some growth. The stock price performance from November 2021 to November 2022 saw significant decrease. And you see that those who suffered most were the platforms, then the mobile-only companies, then PC console with 34% decrease in market stock price. And only the diversified companies had a drop down of 16%. The industry challenges, one of the biggest industry challenge was the continuing war in Ukraine. Our industry has been under attack of Russia, and over 30,000 employees of game development studios suffered from this in this or that way. We can understand that due to war, the Eastern European region has experienced significant changes. Thousands of people relocated from Ukraine, Russia, and Belarus, and gave a big boost to game development in such countries as Georgia, Armenia, Serbia, Cyprus, Montenegro, and the European countries, other European countries as well. Another influential factor that we entered the year with was the IDFA impact, and it definitely led to reduced marketing spend, and it gave us lower valuations for market and companies, and consequently, it gave less investment by the traditional investors into the gaming companies. Besides that, we started experience the crypto winter effect, and the crypto startups experienced decreased trust and investment. And besides that, the year started with a slight meta-skepticism after the 2022 metaverse optimism, and we have observed during the year significant change in this optimism, and of course the supply chain issues that made a huge impact on the console market. If we speak about the global events happening in the world, which made impact on the games industry, then first it's a recession, and it impacts the spend, the consumer spend on the games. It influences the investments, the cost of money, and so on and so forth, the forecasts for future and for future spends. And that is why this is one of the main factors, yes, that's been influencing us. Then the war conflicts. It's not only Ukraine now, it's the Israel war conflict, the war conflict in Israel and Palestine, and it made huge impact on the mobile world because many of employees, top employees, managers in Israel became troopers, joined the armed forces, and some processes slowed down, some evaluations dropped down. They had to make some new hires to rebuild processes. And besides that, the MENA region as a whole suffered. For example, we've had in Value, we've had as a part of our strategy, entering the MENA market with extensive negotiations with Saudi Arabia and other countries. However, we understood that with the war conflict nearby, it would be quite impossible to relocate people there, and we had to refuse the negotiations. And we are just one recruitment team, and you can understand that the development of this region slowed down due to war as well. The crypto winter with small growth and small drop downs continued, and we saw not that many investments into the crypto, not only games, but the crypto world. There were lots of trust issues, and we see that the multiverse devaluation has happened. Multiverse is no longer sexy, and the companies who developed such projects have problems with further rounds, investment rounds, and it's also harder for them to hire people because the candidates do not believe in multiverse that much as they did, for example, in 2022. But there has been a boom, an AI boom, which made the investment world more live and more active, especially in the second part of the year. And it has influenced the whole IT world, including the games industry, and I will dwell on it a bit later. And what also happened, it was the significant, I'll say, traditional or non-AI investment slowdown in the whole IT world, in biotech, and so on and so forth. And by now, games are a part of this traditional investment world. That is why we were influenced by this global trend. I tried to use different sources in order to have a broad picture of what was going on this year. And yes, one of the most influencing events and factors for our industry was the deal-making downturn, and the deal-making activity was and the capital raised this year was 4 times lower than in 2021 and 2022 average. The same with the mergers and acquisitions. They were almost 4 times below the previous 2 years average. The IPO scene has been quiet, and it was almost 30% decline comparing to the previous year. As well, the early stage investment dynamics has slowed down, but it has shown positive dynamics compared to the pre-COVID period. It's understandable that the late stage investment rounds have experienced challenges, and we expect more and more hard times for the game startups, raising the further stages of capital. And AI has impacted investments in games, and that is why there was a growth in Q3, but mostly due to AI solutions. What else was happening? So by the end of the year, it was understandable that there was a 2% decrease in the mobile games revenue. It was also much influenced by the Chinese market and the expectation of further restrictions. And not only as a market, as a B2C end user market, but also as a source of investment to many games companies outside of China. The revenue in US remained stable with a slight decrease in Japan. However, it's been Steam's record year with lots of releases and 9 billion worth sold. So the stock performance of gaming giants was quite fine for them, and the stock price of Take-Two, Electronic Arts, Nintendo, and Sony was higher than at the beginning of the year. We understand that the impact of privacy policies on gaming industry was still huge, and we expect new and new restrictions following Apple App Store. Google is preparing a sandbox for us, Google Sandbox, yeah, and there will be new restrictions. We see that massive brands with massive teams are to some extent more stable. Of course, they also run layoffs, but they are going to develop new titles. What can be also noticed is that hyper casual as a business model almost finally transformed to hybrid, and we see with the candidates that they are not eager to join the purely hyper casual teams and publishers anymore. Maybe though such publishers believe in their future and prosperity, but the candidates don't. AI is the new sexy, not for everyone. I'll dwell on it later. However, the money, the new money is there right now. It seems like it's there. Again, there's been a decrease in advertising revenues, and it moves the developers find new ways of monetization, like subscriptions, more in-app purchases. And this is also to mention for the transformation of hyper casual to hybrid. And one of the big news was Unity new policy for the developers with a revenue share, with an expected revenue share, and very aggressive reply of more than 100 gaming studios. So that Unity had to withdraw the new terms and suggest a lighter way of monetization. And this also put a question of the engines, of how you choose an engine, whether you develop it yourself, and it led to some changes in the hiring process and the processes inside the companies. As for the global HR trends that have been also influencing our industry. So as a part of IT world, we of course know what layoffs are. And there's been a number of layoffs and shutdowns with at least 240,000 IT layoffs. The companies show more eagerness in investing in the existing talent, working on retention vs acquisition, and hiring is no longer top priority. That's why we see ongoing layoffs of recruiters and HR, of departments, expectations of highly developed AI solutions, and it's been a global trend, unfortunately. What else is happening is a further shift from the hybrid model to office only. So many employers do not want to have you outside of the office, even at least a couple of days a week. They want to have you there all 5 days long. However, for those who do not promise to fire you unless you return to the office during 2 months, and such things were happening in the IT world. Some companies introduce hot desk policy in order to make more and more people get back to office, but not having to overpay for their personal desk or office space, but having a hot desk policy, first come, first take. However, one of the trends was a 4-day week. And we've started seeing this in many companies in the games industry as well. And with the candidates, especially top-notch candidates from Scandinavia, who want not only high salaries, perks and benefits, stock options or equity, but they also want a 4-day week as a benefit. Another trend was AI for recruitment and candidates. And if it is understandable that AI is a great boost to HR tech, there is a boost for candidates. Now, there is an opportunity. There are some bots that can apply for a job, filling in the forms, writing a brief cover letter, and applying for hundreds and thousands of jobs daily. And this may cause great recruitment spam. So imagine those recruiters who are getting, 200, 500 responses to a job ad on a position of 2D concept artist, of a middle 2D concept artist. And now it may be much more, and they're not going to be verified by the candidate who is applying. And we know how much imagination AI has, so we can expect a wave of super irrelevant applications. And this will lead to automatization, and AIs are going to communicate and evaluate such applications. And imagine how hard it's gonna be to stand out between hundreds or maybe thousands of applications. So hard times for both sides. One of the sources said that this year the top skill for managers is no longer communication, planning, growing your teammates, but it's managing change, uncertainty, and risks, and it's understandable why. We see the world's growing demand for pay transparency, which is a two-side process where the candidates share and want to know the market and share their salaries. and where the governments regulate these things and companies respond. And yes, and there is a third party, the companies themselves, those who have transparency in their values, those who want to share that diversity, inclusion, belonging is not just a beautiful word in their company description or some recruitment materials, and they share such information. And there's been a lot of fuss about Gen Z this year and how different they are from other generations, how well they can self-represent, how much self-esteem they have, or how big their salary expectations are even at the very entry roles, how hard it is to manage them. And there's even more one more expected trend, and I'll tell you later. It's interesting. Okay, so what about the people operations, the HR, and the candidates and employees experience this year? So the first and I think the main trend this year has been layoffs, yes, and I've written it 3 times because it's layoffs, layoffs, layoffs. And following the layoffs, it's a transition from acqui-hiring to acqui-firing. We know so many examples when big companies, when big holdings were buying different studios, outsource, co-production, self-publishers, being or those who had a publisher. Not only as a part of their M&A strategy to increase the company valuation, but also as a way to hire on a very hot market. Now, instead of acqui-hiring, we'll see acqui-firing of entire companies, teams, departments, etc. Another trend was artists' manifesto against AI. I don't know if you've noticed, but there was a period of time when all the ArtStation was read because of the protest and the manifesto of artists against AI crawling and AI using their work. Returning to the Unity story, per GDC report, a third of developers, 1/3 of developers have either switched or considered switching game engines in 2023 as an alternative to Unity. Oh no, my dear designer and our content producer, it didn't mean as an alternative to Unity. It was as a whole understanding that this is an alternative. It could have been an alternative to Unity. I didn't notice a small mistake here. So this is the previous year trend, focus on experts and senior plus specialists. So companies now have a broader opportunity to hire, negotiate, or at least to connect on LinkedIn with top-notch specialists who were super ignoring the recruiters in the previous years, but now nobody knows when you're going to be laid off. And some of the best people of the industry are fired, and that is why the response rate is much higher. Companies have access to such candidates, and they expect to hire more and more seniors and experts, vs middle specialists, and especially junior entry and trainee roles. So it's a very hard time for them. There's also been much fuss about AI in recruitment, vs very little implementation. One of the researches held, I guess, by AntiLayoffs showed that 93% of HRs have not yet implemented any AI solution in their recruitment or HR process, and only 7% were in the phase of implementation, or at least were thinking about it. So, with the budget cut, with the need to manage risks, managers have to work more, and not only managers, and the overwork continues to be one of the traits of our industry. 37% of respondents took on more responsibilities without an increase in salary last year. And what we also see is that companies are not open to experiments. They need proven experience. And if they are looking for a candidate with experience with this platform, this genre, this monetization type, and this engine and this solution, they are going to accept candidates that have 100% match. They are not open, and especially they are not open to lower expertise. They're not open to expertise from the neighboring industries. So less experiments this year. And vice versa, unlike the previous year, 2022, meaning 2022, this year marketing specialists are again in a very big need. So in 2022, sales, marketing were cut, and they had a huge decrease in the job ads amount. Almost no open positions for business developers. However, this year marketers are on the top, but it's not only the performance marketing with classical user acquisition, which has been influenced by a DFA, but it's those marketers who have broad expertise with influencer marketing, with the traditional channels, with untraditional channels, etc. So any ways to like, how to say it in English? Okay, I won't say it in English. I have forgotten. So any way to extend your marketing sources, and layoffs, of course. Where can we go without layoffs? 10,000 layoffs, even 10,500, and it's only the recorded, and those who are known to the market. VS 5,000 and a half the previous year. And more companies run the so-called silent layoffs when they have no performance review, no salary raise, when they do not negotiate offers, making counter offers. They just let go anyone who is eager to go. There are examples when companies had such a leak of 1/3 of the companies with the policy like that. But there are no announcements of layoffs from such companies. So the situation is much worse than it is known publicly. And while I was preparing for this stream, there were announced 3,500 layoffs in January. And yesterday there was an announcement of 530 more from the Riot Games. Last year, according to AntiLayoffs research, 29% of their respondents experienced layoffs in their organizations. And it's interesting to know that layoff reasons extend beyond financial and performance reasons. And as I've already mentioned about equifiring, it is a part of the correction of aggressive mergers and acquisition strategies. But it was interesting to read about ByteDance's the CEO. ByteDance is the company behind TikTok, who just lost interest and belief in games and decided to shut down the whole business department, business stream. It's interesting that in 2020, on a report on a stream like that, I was announcing 10,000 open positions in the games department of ByteDance. Sweden's Embracer Group was responsible for almost 50% of layoffs in Europe. And for the first time since 2017 in our report, our Big Games Industry Employment Survey, we had not higher salary expectations, but layoffs as the top reason for changing jobs in 2023. Here you see the global layoff rounds. And one of the HR trends this year, and the voice of layoffs, or we'll say anti-layoffs, was Amir Satpat, who himself was looking for a new role this year and joined Tencent. And was an initiator of a huge peer-to-peer, mentor-to candidates initiative with aggregating thousands of available jobs, sharing lists of laid-off people, giving them mentorship, giving them interviews, making CVs and LinkedIn profiles crash tests. And you see that the community that Amir has gathered, and it's around 70,000 subscribers, helped to place more than 1,200 people in games last year. So shout out to Amir, subscribe. He has a number of very successful resources, some playbooks, how to prepare for an interview, ways to update your CV, and so on. So one of the top picks to subscribe on LinkedIn this year. So the AI has risen the question of not only investments, but whether it is going to steal our jobs. And more than a third think that use AI, or have more than 20% have plans to do so. And I must say that the biggest disbelievers in the idea that AI would steal their jobs are artists, with only 16% of them using AI in their job. Yeah, and this is another questionnaire made among GDC visitors. And yeah, you see that still around 25% of people have no interest in using AI, but more than half already use or have plans to. I hate to have this slide. I really hate having this slide, but pay gap is still an issue and a trend in the games industry. You can see that by gender and seniority, there is still a huge difference between male and female. It's on the example of the EU market. Yeah. And we see that the expert, top chief head VP, so the top-notch experts or the highest level experts on their career path, they earn significantly less than men. And an interesting fact is that you see it's very obvious on this on those expert top chief head VP that the desired salary by female is around, this is median desired salary, is around 60,000, 60K. And let's return back. This is what they desire. You see that male gets 66. Yeah, so they even want less than male receive. And I hope that I'm not going to have this slide or such a slide next year. But speaking about the global HR trends, and I wanted to add it here that this year has become an announcement of a so-called obesity pay gap. And I didn't know, and it was just a shock for me that no matter the gender, no matter your age, but the obesity makes you get less. Makes you get less. I hate saying this. So we've been analyzing the job ads this year on InGame Job, and they dropped down, you see, quite significantly. Let's take a look at the amount of C-level positions monthly. They have also dropped down. And that's it. Prepare your questions. I'm going to speak now about predictions and tips to do. So, after a great amount, after an outstanding year for big titles this year, VGI predicts 2.5% decline in Steam revenues, and that they will return to 2023 results only by 2026. However, we must understand that there have been big releases and there are going to be developed new games. That is why there will be new jobs. I expect industry to shift even more to risk mitigation and dominance of franchise games. And this will influence the indie games who have no opportunity to develop, for example, the next Monopoly Go. Experts foresee challenges in China's gaming market, that it may face further restrictions, and it will impact both the end user market and access to Chinese investments. Yes, everyone is looking ahead in the mobile world towards implications of Google's privacy sandbox. Marketing is already king, and it's getting harder and harder for emerging companies, for startups, to build their marketing in-house. And I foresee that publishers are going to hit back, and more games are going to be shifting from self-publishment by developers to third-party publishing. Unfortunately, we're going to hear about layoffs and cutting costs. Maybe it will impact the outsourcing world because it is cheaper, and it is in the end it is cheaper than hiring in-house and then having to pay 6 months compensation while layoffs. So maybe companies are going to mitigate risks like that. Companies are definitely going to invest in the existing talents, work on retention via acquisition, and especially those companies who have already experienced layoffs, because it is a very big hit on your trust to the employer. I also expect a rise of cross-platform as a part of revenue growth, as a part of rise in investments, and your future revenues calculation. And this will consequently influence the tech specialists, the UI UX specialists that are going to be hired, because this is quite a challenge to have the same server for different builds on different platforms, especially mobile and web. So those who can do so, prepare. Those who want to switch to this, be wise choosing the engine and calculating your hiring costs and your budgets, because sometimes you're going to need extra teammates to realize the cross-platform approach. I still believe that companies are going to cut their costs and grow their performance by means of focus on processes, on performance of the employees, their development, their education, on building a culture that makes people want to work here and work productively. And not just, oh, we need to cut costs, let's make a layoff. I still expect slowdown of salaries rise. However, with access to super experienced people from super hot companies, some studios will have to grow their budget on hires, on new hires. And one of the biggest issues of the next year is how, with cutting costs on PR and B2B marketing and employer branding, how to build trust to game companies as employers if they have already had layoffs, or if people are just afraid, no matter what, of being laid off. So this is, I think, to observe this year how they're going to build trust. But there are good news, everyone. So we are expecting to have 4% increase in the mobile sector. The EU Digital Markets Act will allow third-party payment providers enter the digital app domain. If your payment platform gathers less than 3% of your revenues, with Apple's 27%, then you're going to have a higher margin. Steam policy is now more friendly to AI-based games, and this can be an opportunity for small teams who can code, make translation localization, who can make art, who can even make some game design. cheaper and faster. And it's first time since hyper casual appeared that there is such an opportunity, a growth window for small teams, in my perspective. And with the big companies making big games on known franchises, there may happen rise of indies because players may want to play something original. So my tips: you can make a print screen of this slide, or make a pause if you are looking at recorded. So for managers, you need to invest in your teams and yourself. Be ready to have extra tasks and responsibilities. Optimize your costs, and handle layoffs. For this, you need to develop your skills. On the left, we have a list of, I think these are hard skills for managers, including change management and managing uncertainty, adopting AI and automatization, coaching, having mediation skills on solving conflict situations. And on the right, we have the soft skills. This is a small research held by InGame Job. They have analyzed several hundred top level job ads and have introduced a top list of most wanted soft skills by managers last year. So you can see there communication skills, planning, multitasking, analytics, leadership, self-development, etc. So I hope you've already made your screenshot if you're interested. And it's for the employees and candidates. Anyway, I won't say be ready. Be ready to get fired today or tomorrow. No, I wish you to stay positive. First, the majority of those people who have been laid off have already found their new jobs or are going to find them. Yes, we're expecting to have companies shut down, but there are going to be new projects and new startups. There is expected growth of the games industry next year. We also expect that there are going to be releases of the crypto games. There will be releases of the metaverse games. Maybe they will be much more successful than the skepticists think. So stay positive, believe in yourself, be open to the world, because any change is just a change. Grow your network, be visible to recruiters and hiring managers, grow your LinkedIn network, accept offers just for a chat, be ready to prove your expertise with portfolios, with track record in numbers and results. Develop your hard and soft skills. Have a 3 to 6 month backup, because for top positions, it can take time to find a right place. And if you have no backup, it means that you will have to accept the first, at least appropriate offer, maybe least appropriate offer. Know the market, what's going on with layoffs, with different companies, where to search for new jobs, where to find out information about salaries, your market value, and update your compensations expectations to the modern realities. Then know your agreement. Just those who don't today, open your agreement with your employer and find out in which way you can be laid off, and get ready. For in each country, it's absolutely different. Keep your LinkedIn and CV updated. Mind your portfolio and cases. log your accomplishments and numbers, and mind matching roles and industries. Because sometimes it's quite a strategy to take a role in a neighboring industry, get experience there, and then get back to games when the hard times are over. Anyway, I wish you to stay positive, and I thank you for your time and attention. I wish you best of luck. I'm open to your questions and now and later on in comments. If you're looking for a job, please address us at Values Value or use InGame Job portal for this. Drop us a line on Talent. And thank you for your time and attention. Now we're going to have a small 40 seconds break, and then I will answer your questions. So please stay with me. Okay, so now I'm getting your questions. And the first one is, what do you mean by hybrid? So hybrid casual is um, is is a shift from hybrid casual, very easy games, yes, to more casual and even mid-core one. So one of the best examples is Thay Games. Take a look at their portfolio and their most popular games of the previous year. And they are an example of a hyper-casual publisher shifting to hybrid casual. So what's the best options right now to hire from Ukraine? Is it remotely or relocation? So it's quite a question about relocation because male are not allowed to leave the country if they are between 18 and 65. There are some ways, there are some legal ways to leave. For example, to have 3 kids, as I do, though I'm not a male, but I had to repeat that I have 3 kids because it's very hard. Okay, our clients hire from Ukraine, both remote. Some of them hire those who have already left the country. There are even people who set up new offices in Ukraine, but I know only Israel-based companies who do so. Thank you for your question. I can dwell on it more in private messages or in comments. Is there data which sector in game dev is affected the most this year, you mean? No, it has not yet been updated, or at least I didn't see it while I was preparing. But the previous year, we saw that mobile and platforms were most influenced, was most affected. Are these numbers of net or gross? I think you mean the salaries in EU. They are gross and they are median, meaning that half of respondents have salaries lower than the stated number, and half of them have salaries higher. We do not take average because average is untrue, according to cool data analysts. So, Palina, I don't see any other questions. Will you expand your services to other countries? I never see any job offers in Germany from you. Well, we do expand our services. We have clients from all the EU countries, I guess. And we look all over the world for our clients. So maybe just drop us a note so that we could keep in touch and offer you something interesting as soon as it happens. However, I must say that most of the German companies have slowed down their hires this year. This was something we discussed at one of the conferences in Germany, and you can see that the amount of recruiters and HR ads has decreased dramatically in Germany, meaning that they mostly don't hire. Yeah. Do you have career development consultation options in Value? Sure, please address. I will be happy to help. What is the situation of Ukrainian companies now? Are most developers working remotely from other countries? So I must say that around 30% of Ukrainians left their homes in the games industry. Some of them came back, like a part of our team. One of our partners returned to Ukraine with her child. And there are people who go to offices, and there are lots of office hires. They work both remote for Ukrainian companies, remote for overseas companies. So the situation changed not that much comparing to the COVID and post-COVID times. I must say maybe more people work in offices now compared to 2022. The market is still growing. There are thousands of job ads in Ukraine and for Ukrainians. I am one of the ambassadors of hiring Ukrainians who are resilient, who can work under bombs, who can work with electricity generators having electricity shutdowns in the region. So support Ukraine, hire Ukrainians, buy Ukrainian games. If you want more information, it will appear in comments both on YouTube and on LinkedIn. My colleague Katya will share the previous year report on the state of Ukrainian games industry and the analysis of the job market. Thank you for your question. Yes, and I didn't mention that I'm from Ukraine, and the majority of our team is from Ukraine or of Ukrainian origin. So I see that it's almost all for now. Polina, is this both from LinkedIn and from YouTube? Yes? Yes. Great. Great. We are in time. For those who are watching this in a record, please feel free to leave your comments. I will take a look at them for at least several days and answer all of them. Thank you for having me. Thank you for your questions, and I hope to have some feedback and your ideas on what's going to happen this year. Thank you very much.